What's your personal connection to this?
My mom just sucks at pork chops.
Like, how long have you been cooking?
But I try to start cooking at house, but I'm not really good cook, I think.
You said it's your favorite?
That was my favorite. That's my favorite. Everything said and done.
Can I ask you questions?
Yeah, sure.
What's your connection to cooking? Why'd you want to do something about food?
I once lived in Kentucky when I was a zygote. I was 3 years old, but I like to say zygote because I hardly remember any of it, aside from the final supper. I stole a push pop from a Walmart checkout aisle. I thought I'd have it. But unlike a kleptomaniac, I immediately hated the feeling of leaving the store with that sweet treat in my dress pocket. Within minutes of arriving home, my family found me crouched under the table, red-handed and blue-tongued. I had tried to eat away the guilt so quickly that I hardly stopped to consider that the table I hid under was transparent glass in the middle of the living room. I think of Kentucky and some of my earliest feelings as a tiny human. It's wild to think that my first conscious moral dilemma at the age of 3 is connected to tangy blue simple sugars in a plastic tube.
Today we cooking the Persian foods that we call the lubia pulao, and lubia pulao means the green beans with the rice. It's the popular in Iran because most of the family and the Persian family make this at home. You cut onion like that.
I know what you're crying.
Yes, the onion always crying. Start with the sauteing the onion. Add the chicken now, because we need to add the chicken to be cooked with the onions. There's some turmeric. It's really special in Iran, used for all of the dishes. Turmeric. We need to saute the beans too. I add this saffron to the chicken too.
Is it like oil or?
No, it's like we can throw it in the butter. Then show you how can I make the saffron. Best of the Irans. Most of this flour is exported to other countries. Really expensive, yeah. Smell is good. We ground it with this saffron and then add to the butter boil, and then let's to brown the saffron. Look at the color. The saffron we can use to ice cream, tea, food, everything. We have everything with saffron. I add the tomato and try to cook with the beans. So beautiful. Now it's beautiful.
It looks delicious.
Okay, we wash the potato and peel out and then cut it like that. We use these for under the rice. We call the tadik. Tadik is like the crib seed in the bottoms. Sherwin have own technique. We need 3 minutes to check the rice. Is it okay for brewing or not? We check it like that. With the fingers, we need to put 1 layer rice, 1 layer from this straw. And then we need the cinnamon for this lubia pulao because it's the special for this pulao. Now I wanna make a special salad that come with this pulao in Iran. It's called the Shirazian salad. It's really delicious. I think the Persian food is really time consuming. Persian women take a lot of time to cook this food, and then starting from the morning to prepare for the dinner.
What does this meal mean to you?
Oh, because of that memory, I choose lubia pulao because my grandmother always cooked this. I went to visit my grandmother because of lubia pulao.
So you can't have one without the other.
Yeah, you can, but it's the famous with this one.
They're a team.
I try to start cooking at house, but I'm not really good cook, I think.
Really?
Always my mom cook at home.
I've learned I just can't cook like my mom.
All the moms have the special recipe, and always I try to cook like mom, but it's not work. It doesn't work.
It's like a secret recipe that they all know that we can't know.
Yeah.
At my elementary school in the Midwest, we used to take these standardized tests. The tests took multiple days to complete, and our teachers would give us a treat before handing us our workbooks. It was our choice between a lemon drop or a peppermint. Apparently, lemon drops and peppermints would help our memory and focus. I always chose the lemon drop because I loved the tangy, sour flavor balanced with the sugary coating. The feeling of the granules scraping against the roof of my mouth. As the candy dissolved on my tongue, I felt the knowledge of years past absorb into my brain and flow onto the page. Well, at the time, I much later came to believe this tradition was a mere cutesy, positive association thing the teachers did to help kids not absolutely hate exam week. But hey, they say it's not what you can do for the placebo effect, but what the placebo effect can do for you. Yeah, okay, I'm shooting right now.
Hey, how we doing? Today we're going to be making pork chops with a little bit of pear and mushroom bed to go on top of that. Growing up, my mom would cook pork chops all the time, and she'd just fry them and fry them and fry them, and they were so dry. I couldn't get through them. I asked to use the restroom and keep them in my cheeks and then go in and spit them into the toilet. And they definitely knew we were doing it.
I wasn't expecting that the inspiration for this dish would be you flaying your mother.
No, she's a great cook. My mom's Southern, so there was no hiding it. We had a lot of pork, we had a lot of chicken growing up. I didn't really start cooking until sophomore year of college. I started making friends who cooked really good food. And when you are around people who are cooking really good food, you want to be able to do that as well. It's a real communal feeling around the table and around the kitchen while people are cooking, especially you have a bunch of friends over here having doing the prep for you. Cut the time down like that, everyone's laughing, having a good time.
Absolutely. It's good vibes.
It's a great way to get people over too.
Yeah, no,
it's one thing when you're trying to get a bunch of people to come over.
People keep trying to buy friends with
dinner,
money.
By the way. Yeah, buy friends with food. That's what they do. You can cook, you can make friends right like that. Chives, so you might as well use a bunch of chives.
It'll taste good.
So that is the finished plating. That's the finished product. It's gonna taste great.
It looks amazing.
Yeah.
Do we need to do some cute little goodbye? Well, thanks for coming over.
Thank you for having me over.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming. It's been a pleasure. I'm glad I got to cook for you finally. I don't feel like I've ever cooked for you. Wow.
We are originally from Cameroon in Central West Africa. We harvest palm wine, which is the sap that comes out of palm trees. We eat all kinds of insects. We have termites, beetles, and a lot of meat, which usually takes a long time to prepare, almost all day. We fry them and eat them. Corn, which is maize, we call it, which you can grind and make what we call fufu with special soup. There are so many different kinds of food we eat for the different seasons.
My dad has never cooked a day in his life. But growing up, when my American friends would visit the house, he would always describe Cameroonian food and its processes this way, with himself attached to it. We cook like this, we prep like this, we grow this, we eat this, and we eat it like this. Because whether he's responsible for the food being served on the platter or scarfed down from it, he feels a sense of pride for the food language that Cameroonians have developed over centuries. A pride for the rich history of his home and the revival of his home overseas. A plate of achu soup, jamanjama, groundnuts, is a plate that represents the people, even if the people are dispersed. And that plate of achu, jamanjama, groundnuts, when enjoyed with the people and the guests of the people, at a table in any place, invites that table into the world of the people.
The name of the dish is ngomtar. That's what I ate growing up. My whole childhood was a lot of ngomtar every day. Every day.
Was it your favorite? You said it's your favorite?
That was my favorite. That's my favorite. So the main ingredients, we have plantains. We have bitter leaves. Bitter leaves back home, they are bitter. Here I use collard greens, which I wash, and I'm going to use that in the place of bitter leaves. Some smoked fowl, some smoked turkey, crayfish, and palm oil. Cameroonian palm oil, not just anyone, because that's what makes a difference. Back home, our grandma said the best plantains were cooked in the iron pot. I have my iron pot here. As a little girl, I used to hate peeling plantains because it got sticky on my hands, and none of us liked to clean the plantains. My mom would say, go to the backyard, get some plantains from the plantain tree. And interestingly, back home, they never threw away the back of the plantains. These were saved and dried to make achu soup.
Oh, so that's what's in achu?
That's what they use for achu soup. There's a particular way that I have to break them. I have to break with a twist. The reason I twist it is because it lets the water enter inside during the cooking. It permits the water to get inside better. Layer of plantains and a layer of washed vegetables. Size of the meat can tell for who you're making the food. So I said, Erika, you're my special guest, so the size of the meat is different.
Oh, I love that.
I don't measure it, I just eyeball it and I taste it. I'm gonna dice this and blend it. Put some ginger, a little bit of onion, tomatoes, just so that it gets tastier. I'm gonna blend my crayfish dry first before I put anything more into the little blend.
Okay.
Awesome. You know, back home, you go from one house to the next, from one house to the, and you will always find food. So each house where you went, they gave you food. From one mama, if it's ngomtaro or they might add some cocoyams inside, that's just a variety. If it depends on what the mama brought from the farm that day. So if I watch and I see that it's not simmering evenly, I can rotate the pot.
Looking good.
Coming along. Angela was laughing at me the other day because she said I wanted to take my hot pepper to the restaurant. I said, yes, I'll take it because hot pepper is what gives me an extra oomph to the food. Palm oil is typical of West Africa. Because I noticed East Africa doesn't have it, but West Africa we have a lot of palm oil. I used to make palm oil as a little girl going to school. They didn't have a lot of resources, but the food tasted good. Most of what they put inside would be crayfish. But because it was all natural, it tasted so good. So good. That's the way I enjoy it. When I went to secondary school, it was in Kumba, where they have very good plantains. They particularly say that the end tastes better.
The end of the plantain?
The tip, that tip tastes better. Try it.
It's better than the middle one?
That's what they say.
Food is a love language for me, so I love cooking for other people.
Right.
Sharing a good meal with like a friend or a family member.
Always my grandmother, my mother cook this food at home. It's really delicious.
To me, this brings back some childhood memories.
Because you couldn't leave the table until you made a happy plate.
Wait, Lupia Palo.
Lupia Palo. That's fun. You could give someone the same script, the same exact recipe, and they could have the same exact ingredients, and two different people make it and it will never taste the exact same. It's like, that's why you can say, oh, you know, Grandma Pauline's Nguntaro is the best. Or I always loved my mom's puff puff more than other people's puff puff.
Because she makes good puff puff.
She makes good puff puff. There's like a finesse that comes from the hand that cooked it.
There's a finesse.
Not just in the ingredients, like what we were talking about earlier, but like in the person.
Exactly.
That's the part. That's the whole made with love part. Is
that's that part that you cannot describe, and you really cannot share because it's individualized. It goes with the person, each person. What's the next dish? Who are you going to next?
This is the last one.
This is the last one?
This is the last stop.
Okay. Okay.
We ended at home.
Ended at home.